Okay, just imagine the scene for a second. It's August 26, 2025. You're in this beautiful private garden. The air's warm, flowers are everywhere, and the entire internet is about to just break.
And on a finger, there's this incredible diamond ring,
Yeah.
an old mine brilliant cut for anyone who knows their jewelry.
Right. And then on Instagram, you get the caption, the one that became an instant classic. Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. It was the absolute peak of the fairy tale.
It really was. The world was basically throwing confetti. But if you fast forward to today, Monday, January 19th, 2026, the whole mood has shifted.
Oh, dramatic.
We are not in a garden anymore. Think more like a cold, silent locker room. The Kansas City Chiefs are out of the playoffs way, way earlier than anyone thought, and all those headlines about the wedding of the century.
Gone. Replaced with reports that all the planning has just stopped. Cold.
It's a massive vibe shift.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Is this just a little pause, or is this, the beginning of the end? Welcome to StarScope Report.
And I'm Jamie. Our whole mission here is to guide you through all the noise, to uncover the real stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
And today, we are absolutely dissecting the headlines about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. We're going to try and separate that online breakup panic from what sources are now calling their first real test as a couple.
Okay, let's get into it. Because if you've been online at all this week, you've seen the absolute panic.
Oh, for sure. The headline is basically from proposal to paused. But to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to remember the high they were on. August 2025 wasn't just a good month. It was like a full-blown cultural event.
It was.
Yeah.
And you have to look at the details to understand why the current silence is so, I guess, deafening. You mentioned the ring, that old mine cut.
Yeah.
That's a vintage style. It implies history, permanence. It wasn't some trendy choice,
Yeah.
It was a forever kind of ring.
And the context around it was just massive. This was right after Taylor went on the New Heights podcast for the very first time.
Exactly. And that episode, it shattered world records for viewership. We're literally talking about a music empire merging with a media empire.
And she even hinted they were living together then. The engagement just felt like this triumphant, totally natural next step.
And that caption, English teacher and gym teacher, so self-aware. It played right into her whole so high school thing. It was brand genius, but it also felt real.
Oh, fans were eating it up. We saw reports of people booking flights to Rhode Island for June 2026, just based on pure speculation.
Which brings us to today's much colder reality. We have reports from the Daily Mail and Us Magazine, and these sources have been surprisingly on the money with this couple, saying the wedding plans have been put on the, and this is a direct quote, back burner.
Back burner.
That's a very specific phrase, isn't it? It's not in the trash, but the heat is definitely off.
And we have to talk about the trigger. Because this isn't some fight over, the color of the napkins. This is about football. It's all about the massive external pressure they're in right now. The catalyst was the Chiefs' season ending, January 4th. A loss to the Las Vegas Raiders.
And for anyone who doesn't follow sports, we need to be clear about how big a deal this is. Losing a game happens, sure, but this knocked them out before the AFC Championship.
Right. And to understand the mindset of an athlete like Travis Kelce, you have to look at his history. He hasn't missed the AFC Championship since 2018.
That is an insane run of dominance. It's a dynasty. So for him to be sitting at home in the middle of January, that's completely new for him. Sources are saying he feels defeated.
And they're going further than that. They're saying he's facing a life-altering decision about whether or not to retire.
And that's really the heart of it. It's not just about losing a football game. It's about potentially losing his entire identity. He's been Travis Kelce, the tight end, for his whole adult life. If he stops, who is he?
That's a huge existential crisis. And let's be honest, that is a terrible time to be planning a wedding.
Exactly. Can you imagine trying to pick out a cake flavor when your partner is basically going through a career funeral?
And that is the nuance that all the panic scrolling online just misses. The reports are clear that pause does not mean canceled.
Right. The narrative we're getting from the sources is that Taylor's just prioritizing his mental health. She doesn't want to, quote, bombard him with wedding plans while he's figuring all this out.
That actually makes them seem, a lot more relatable, doesn't it? Obviously, they're on another planet financially, but that core dynamic of, hey, my partner's having a really bad month at work, maybe now's not the time to talk about the guest list, that's real.
It is. It's a very grounded response to a very ungrounded life. But the fans are in a panic because there's no date. Rumors were flying about June 13th, 2026. classic Taylor with a number 13.
And now there's just silence,
Yeah.
and that vacuum gets filled with all kinds of wild speculation.
Well, and it's not just the football, is it? Is Kravis just bummed about a game, or is he stressing because he's about to make this massive career pivot into Hollywood?
That's the bigger picture, for sure. We need to talk about what's going on behind the scenes, because he is not just sitting around moping. He is actively planning his next act.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to get into his Hollywood pivot and why some people are actually blaming Taylor for his stats dropping right after this.
And coming up, we are going to look at a very specific, kind of weird document from 2024, a so-called fake contract that predicted a breakup date. And we'll explain why some people are dusting it off right now to say, I told you so.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or I guess the tight end in the room who might be looking for a new line of work.
The 36-year-old rookie. That's the headline we're seeing.
Travis is 36. In normal life, that's nothing. In the NFL, you're practically a fossil.
It's ancient, yeah. His contract goes to 2027, but sources are saying he's really thinking about retiring before free agency opens up in March.
So he basically has a deadline to make this call. And we have to look at the numbers because the critics are. There's this whole narrative building that he sort of fell off because of the relationship.
The critics are being so brutal, he's distracted. It's the jet-setting lifestyle.
Okay, but let's just look at the data. From 2016 to 2022, Travis averaged 12,229 yards a season. That's Hall of Fame level.
Unbelievable numbers.
Since he started dating Taylor, that average has dropped to around 903 yards.
It's a pretty significant drop. It's roughly a 25% decrease.
It is. Now, you or I might say, well, he got older, wear and tear, the body slows down. But the distraction narrative is just such an easy story for sports media to sell. They love to blame the girlfriend.
It drives me crazy. It's so lazy. Come on. This is the man who is literally on stage at Wembley in June 2024 carrying Taylor during a costume change.
In front of 90,000 people.
He dusted her face with a makeup brush. If that's not proof he can multitask, I don't know what is. He's shown he can do both.
He can, but for how much longer? This is what sources mean by the first real test. It's not just about their schedules anymore. It's his transition from NFL star Travis Kelce to just celebrity Travis Kelce.
That's a huge identity crisis for any athlete. When the cheering stops, it gets real quiet.
But Travis seems to be building himself a landing pad to make sure the noise keeps going.
Right, the pivot. He's not just going to retire and, play golf.
Not a chance. He's reportedly in talks with Netflix, with major networks. We're hearing about roles as a sports correspondent, maybe even hosting a game show. He was already attached to Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity?
Remember.
And he even joked about it. On his podcast, January 7th, just days after they lost, he said, I am officially jobless. Actually, this is my only job.
Which is a joke, but it's also not. It's a deflection. He's acknowledging the uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I think that all ties back to the wedding being paused.
That's a really good point. If you don't even know what city you'll be working in next year, how can you possibly pick a wedding venue?
Exactly. It's impossible. But while he's dealing with this professional low, Taylor has been on a completely different planet. She's been breaking records that have stood since, the early 90s.
It's a real tale of two different trajectories right now. And that kind of imbalance, it can be tricky for any couple.
We're going to dive into the absolutely mind-blowing success of her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, in just a second.
And later.
Yeah.
Remember that whole leaked contract thing that said they'd break up back in September 2024? We're going to tell you why that ghost is suddenly back to haunt the headlines.
And hey, if you want to stay updated on whether they end up choosing Nashville or Hollywood, make sure you're subscribed. We're tracking every single move so you don't have to.
Okay, so let's pivot to Taylor. Because while Travis is feeling defeated, Taylor is having a moment that is, it's historic.
Even for her.
The album is called The Life of a Showgirl. It dropped on October 3rd, 2025. And the stats, just listen to this. It's been #1 for 12 straight weeks. It sold 4 million units in the first week.
Just to put that in perspective for you, 4 million units in 1 week is basically impossible in the streaming era. You have to go back to 1991 to find a bigger sales week. It's just staggering. And that title, The Life of a Showgirl, it says so much, doesn't it? It reflects this triumphant mindset. She's not hiding from the fame. She's putting on the show.
Oh, and the relationship is woven all through it. The lead single, The Fate of Ophelia, reportedly has a secret cameo from Travis. And the song, So High School...
Which was an engagement caption.
Exactly. It's confirmed to be about him.
Yeah.
It's art imitating life.
But that brings us back to that first real test thing. You have Taylor in her peak showgirl era, all success and triumph, and Travis is dealing with professional grief. That's a really tough emotional imbalance to navigate under one roof.
It is the classic "a star is born" dynamic, isn't it? One star rising, one maybe setting. It takes a lot of maturity to handle that without resentment creeping in.
It really does. And then, of course, you have the skeptics. Because anytime there's a tiny hiccup, the conspiracy theorists come out of the woodwork to say it was all fake from the start.
We have to talk about that full scope
Oh,
document.
God, the breakup contract.
Yes. For anyone who forgot, back in September 2024, this document leaked online from a PR firm called Full Scope. It claimed to be a breakup plan with a specific date, September 28th, 2024.
Which was insane.
It was so detailed, but it was proven to be totally fake. I mean, the date came and went. They got engaged over a year later. But now, because the wedding is paused, you have people pulling up that old file saying, see, it was a long con PR stunt. This is just the slow rollout of the breakup.
That feels like such a reach. They got engaged. He gave her a custom-designed diamond. You don't do that for a PR stunt.
I agree, it's a stretch. But when there's a vacuum of information, people fill it with conspiracy. The PR stunt story is cynical, sure, but it's a story. The reality is probably way more boring and human.
So, speaking of the future, if he does retire, where do they land? The reporting seems to be pointing towards Nashville.
Quiet domesticity is the phrase that keeps getting thrown around. It would be a return to her roots, and Travis has said he doesn't want some big farewell tour. He might just want to fade out of the NFL and into that life.
Can you even imagine that? The English teacher and the gym teacher. Just, like, going to the grocery store in Nashville.
It sounds nice, but can the showgirl really handle the quiet life? That's the real tension here. Her entire career is built on drama and storytelling. Quiet domesticity is a very, very different vibe.
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, to recap where we are today, the wedding is paused. It is not canceled.
Right. It's paused because Travis is facing a massive career crisis, and Taylor is stepping up to support him.
They're navigating their first real test, which is this huge imbalance between professional grief on his side and record-shattering success on hers.
And that decision is coming soon. Travis has to let the Chiefs know his plans by March. The clock is absolutely ticking.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. We all know Taylor writes about her life. It is the fuel for her creative engine. If Travis does retire and the wedding happens, and they actually move to Nashville for that quiet life, what in the world does the next Taylor Swift album even sound like?
That is the question. Can the showgirl handle the silence? Or is the drama the only thing that keeps the music playing?
Something to think about. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in.
And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.